Good morning, good afternoon, and in case I don't see you, good night. My name is Daniel M. Reeses, and I gotta stop doing certain things like this and things like that. I don't like the way it looks on camera, but in general, if anyone actually understands what it takes to film and actually disseminate, I think people would be a little bit more mindful of how difficult my job is and would be a little bit less disrespectful in judging whether or not I have to do it, I don't have to do it. In my personal opinion, based on what I know and what I have done the best I can to work on a very complex series of issues that involve social media directly affecting the human brain at a young age in order to incite some sort of a violent and absolutely unjustifiable response. The thing that I have considerably thought about, and one thing I will tell you is I will never discuss this in private or public, because the only thing that I will say is what you're about to hear. So it doesn't matter if it's public, it doesn't matter if it's private. Please respect the privacy of victims of very serious crimes. By denying the reality of what happened in the mosque shooting in California, and by isolating me as some sort of an insane radical that is doing his best to express the heartache that I have for every parent that's involved in this, including what's the worst is the parents of the child that perpetrated this, or the two children. And I use the word child because I believe that they were either minors or under the age of consent. And I don't believe that human beings that perpetrate these types of crimes, even though they came in pairs, should ever be overlooked as a lesson to all of us. And one of the reasons why my algorithm is not able to pick up young human beings that are transitioning from one sex to another has a lot to do with the adverse response of humans that are rejected socially for their transgender beliefs, and how difficult it is for them to justify their personal existence in a world that doesn't want them. That is what happens inside of the brain of a human being that wants to harm themselves or someone else based on some sexual based misunderstanding. And one of the things I want to remind everyone is that the school shooter that you see in the image as displayed by the US government, so if you choose not to believe in the government, I don't think that there's a reason for you to even watch this channel, because what is the point of anything if you get to the level I have a very close friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name on camera right now, but yesterday he and I had a really interesting discussion about our memories of our childhood. And if you're watching this channel, you must understand that I am a firm believer in the happy memories that I experienced as both a child and adult, and I do the best I can to really display those memories on social media, which is why I'm changing the format, and I'll explain to you after I explain what my friend said to me. He said, what's the point of anything? And I truly believe that I've known this person for the better part of 35 years, and I truly believe that the solution behind some people's problems is that they're stuck in a cycle of repetitive behavior that leads to these really, really horrible conditional results of their happiness. So if you set an arbitrary bar of happiness and you don't reach that bar, well, that's because the bar is either set too high or you're not working hard enough. And for most people, they can't really accept that. So it's not a matter of, it's a matter of balance. And when you get to the root of what a person knows and what they don't know. So for example, I don't know much, but I know that in order to play tennis, you gotta have balls. And that is semi-comical, semi-ironic, semi-quixotic, and definitely true. And that's the point of this channel, is that because you're not able to disprove what I'm saying, you isolate me in some very strange, not legal and not logical patterns. So for example, if you're watching this and you know that the stories about my childhood and things like that are true, in order for you to disprove the other parts, you must ignore everything you know about your own life first, and then you know about my life. Because my memory, my existence is only in your brain because you're alive. So you first need to disprove the first part. So for example, I really want to express to everyone that I have a lot of remorse for the way I've spoken about my brother and the rest of my family online. I do. If you want to be completely honest, something happened this morning, which is a really positive thing. And yesterday was one of the worst, most depressing days of my life. And I don't really want to get into it. But the point of this is that sometimes before making any rash decisions or filming content, so for me, I wasn't really at a point where I was going to make any rash decisions, but I was going to film some content that really wouldn't be very positive and would counter the process of what I'm trying to achieve. And essentially, if anyone's wondering what I'm attempting to do, that is, I am attempting to fix my life on YouTube as a comeback story and motivation for people, because the truth is that I fucked up. I fucked up because I know how strong I am. I lied to myself. I lied to everyone else about my weaknesses. Not in like the traditional lying sense, in the fact that I couldn't admit that my biggest issue is that I have health issues that I don't want to recognize, because who wants to admit that they're going to see their oncologist on Friday, or trying to. I haven't seen my oncologist in about 7 years, you know. Not a fun thing, but the reality is life's very short. Life's very, very short. If you spend it in the past, and I'll tell you something, I will take responsibility, because I believe that in order for me to get the band back together, only my brother will understand that part of it, or the title of this, you know what? I'm going to put my sunglasses on, because as you can see, I have huge bags under my eyes. You guys still there? All right, cool. I do. I believe that a big issue of mine is my fault. Do I believe that there's personal responsibility on the other end? Sure. But this channel is my channel. My channel is very simple. I'm going to introduce to you the new format, and I'm going to express to you that what I'm looking to do is clean up everything in the past, publish it, not publish it. You know, I'll make the decisions as they come up. But the new format is very simple. The format... The format is very simple. There will be one image on Instagram where I will type personally a note to my two boys. Right now I have 90,000 followers. If you want to consider the reality that I'm interested in doing the complete opposite of anyone else's attempts to enter into the social network stratosphere of digital bullshit, my goal is to lower the amount of followers until I only have 2, maybe 5 followers, which is just my nephews and a friend or two, and that's it. And the whole point is that my gift to them is that I will eliminate everyone else in the world, if they don't want to watch, to show them how important they really are to me. And in order for you to understand that, you must understand that we don't live in a world that wants to decrease their Instagram followers. We live in a world where people want to skyrocket, be popular, and things like that. But in order to understand how much work it took to get to this place, to have the most amount, in my opinion, of followers that are, hey, how are you? Yeah, come on in. There are a lot of misconceptions about the role that Jamie plays in my life. And I recognize that. That's another part that I will admit to, where I do pretend like I don't know what people's opinion is of myself and Miss Resnick. Do I believe that it is moral or legal of the way they think and act? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to take personal responsibility and say, look, obviously I know I'm the leader of this family, but what do you want me to do if they all hate me? How am I supposed to lead a family that literally hates the guy that they think is either the leader or the Antichrist? I'm not even sure what my family thinks anymore, but let me tell you the reality. In order for me to bring my family back together, I gotta get Mark back, the most important kid. So if anyone doesn't understand, it takes 2 human beings to make a child, and on top of that, that means that there are, 2 sets of grandparents for a human being. And my my father and my aunt are the children of this man, Myron, that I really like and whatever. I have another grandfather that was awesome as well, but he didn't have anything to do with killing Hitler. And one of the things I want to remind everyone is that, let's say that my family wants to say, you know what, Daniel, we think we were full of shit. We believe that grandfather was an awesome guy, and he was definitely on the front, and he definitely was injured, and but he wasn't part of the team that stored a bunker or any of the stories you say on YouTube. And I'm going to say to them very calmly, I'm going to say, okay, let's look at this from the outside. You've got two people talking about it. One who is not trying to rewrite history, but attempting to explain something that is very difficult for most people to conceptualize, understand, which is that, mathematically speaking, even if my grandfather was a part of the front, it is more than enough to consider being part of the group of human beings that were responsible for killing Adolf Hitler. I promise you this. And mathematically speaking, this man did more than anyone else. So in order to diminish what I know from my father, and I've looked up historically, you would actually have to be a denier of the historical significance of our own grandfather's role. So optically speaking, you've got one person in the family that is very much a part of the truth being relayed to the fact that, like, someone had to. And my grandfather was only 17 to 21 years old during the time, and if you've ever seen him, I assure you the Russian infantry would not miss a 5'6" little Jewish man that could barely hold a giant assault rifle, let alone the fact that he was part of the intelligence. So the fact that, like, even if you don't believe the intelligence aspect of what was done, it far outweighs the gunners or the infantry. So in order for my own family to deny that, they would have to literally deny the Holocaust. That's how sad things have gotten. But they will change. You see, we live in America, not Russia. Thank God. Russia sucks, especially where I grew up. And I had a good life. And I'm telling you this right now because in Russia, you're not able to do what you're about to see. What you're about to see is an attempt by one asshole right over here to get the band back together. I don't need the other kids yet. There's 8 children that are the grandchildren of this man. All 8 of them have to come together for me to say that I did it successfully. Not on YouTube or any of that stuff. As a matter of fact, the new format is very simple. One picture goes up. On Instagram, I type up a little note to my kids. That same picture is used as a tile for this YouTube channel, and I discuss what is in the image. Once a day. That's it. All the other content that I film is either private videos or old content, except for every once in a while where I will need to use the camera to display some therapeutic elements and really discuss some serious topics. And that's only because we don't live in the kind of society where we're able to just simply ignore the trends that are really dangerous. Like, for example, since 2008, we have barely innovated anything as a society except in the digital space. Cryptocurrencies, online dating, online gaming, online apps. Please understand that streamline or thought process-wise, that is all based on one tiny electronic device, which is not healthy. It is not healthy in any form. So, for example, gambling is bad enough as it is. When you combine gambling with retinal stimulation, dopamine drips, hypnopsychotic elements, it is beyond illegal. It is beyond hypnotic, and it is beyond difficult to quit or manage the mitigating circumstances that are a direct result of horrible decisions that are made under the guise and influence of a hypnotic tool. Sorry about that. Doja Cat, she's absolutely amazing. If anyone hears the song Lose My Mind, please understand that it took me a little bit of time, though we were able to get the balance point at 1 minute and 45 seconds, which is where her voice starts. And then that is exactly the center point of the actual song. If you look at your playlist, your Apple Music, whatever, you'll hear her voice start at 1:44. But the argument was that, like, an audible sound requires multiple steps. So if you hear a certain part of it, it's not actually audible until the second part comes. Please look into this yourself. And then the last part, I think she's running a few seconds late because the lyrics couldn't change, so she's rushing through it. I told you the second I came on, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's a talented young woman. That is a very, 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 very beautiful, talented entertainer who actually does the lyrics and performs and things like that. And she doesn't perform live, and there's a reason for that. Meaning like when she's live and things like that, human beings that are in the production world understand that their voice is much more important than the entertainment they're able to produce with that voice. When you're getting paid a certain amount of money, it is much better to record professional masters and lip sync and quietly sing the song inside of the microphone for legal purposes, but then the audio is piped through from the master tracks. That is 100% legal and doable, because I promise you, in a court of law, Doja Cat will sing that fucking song. That's the whole point. You're either talented or you're not, and talent comes with a massive price, and very few people can understand, appreciate, and comprehend the amount of dedication, love, commitment, and passion that I have for my family, my love, my art. Everything that I have to offer is 100% real, and I promise you I'm going to do everything I can to bring the band back together, which means humble myself and pray for forgiveness from the people that I've hurt, and make right by doing things, not just doing nothing. Filming content that says I apologize, deleting content that my family doesn't like, changing everything about it, all in order to love two boys more. My name is Daniel M. Reeses, and I promise you, if you could prove me wrong, I will stop. Wait, one last thing I want to say. Like, one thing that you don't understand is that I am very comfortable with failing. I am more than comfortable than you know. You see, a human being is only alive for, I'm 43 years old. If I get another 50 years in me, it's like winning the lottery. But like, even 30 years, I'll be really happy. In that 30 years, not a single day should pass in regret. And if I don't make an effort to show both myself and the world that, first off, I was wrong, because I'm much stronger than a lot of people, and I think that I bullied them with my emotional strength. And I think that it took me a really long time to get to the point where I was strong enough to admit it. And that's what I did wrong. I didn't lie, I didn't hurt anyone, I didn't break any laws. I'm just a lot more resilient than my family is able to describe, and I took advantage of that. My resilience comes from a lifetime of being doubted while still performing and accomplishing the tasks I do. It's not that complicated. But the reality of the complexity stems from where's my personal responsibility. And I'm going to take personal responsibility for being a very strong asshole. That's what I actually did. It's not illegal, it's not wrong, it's very much justified in my eyes, but at the same time, that doesn't change the fact that I got to humble myself and say, guys, I'm really sorry, I'll do whatever it takes. Let's just get the family together. Even if I'm not there, as long as the family's together and safe, I think that'll be good for my grandfather. So if it's just the 7, then, you know, I'll have the boys, and you guys have the 7. And if you need the 8th, I'm right here. But in general, I don't believe in some sort of totalitarian leadership of a family, but I do believe that we should have a very... If you believe in family and things like that, you should have all 8 kids have an equal vote on what happens, and not what was in the past, which is like a very strange combination of a 1-2 punch of my aunt and me bullying our way through making people happy. I know you won't believe this, but it's all true. And I'm very regretful for some of the things I've done, a lot of things I'm not regretful for, but in order to change and grow and do what I want to do, is I have to try something different in order to get the results I want. Even though I personally am in a good headspace, without my children in my life and without the semblance of stability for my boys, I simply can't do anything. I can't make money, I can't work. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can, and that's the point of the other videos. But in general, what is happening to me needs to be resolved on a very high level immediately, in order for human beings to understand that the job that I do far exceeds any money that you think I'm going to make or lost. My name is Daniel M. Reeses. If you could find one person that could do even a quarter of what I can do on a daily basis, I promise you I will work for him, or her, actually.